Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a really fun spice pick in the Great League Remix Cup, Lucario. Lucario is quite the frail Pokemon, but a unique typing and coverage give it a really interesting niche in the Remix Cup meta. Lucario does extremely well against the many steel types and Drapion in the meta, and Shadow Ball gives it nice coverage versus Trevenant, as well as a hard-hitting finishing move. Lucario is a pretty difficult Pokemon to use, but I did have an absolute blast using it. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's take a look at Lucario in action. Hopping into the first match, leading Mantine into a shiny Zweilous, so an absolute flex to start off with. We are running Ice Beam, so we are going straight for it, hoping we can land it and do some big damage. Ice Beam is shielded, and now we're actually going to save switch into the Lucario. For the first two games, I ran Lucario safe switch, and then I ended up using it as a closer, and the opponent brings in a Alolan Marowak, and we are able to survive the fire spins and get to the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will be doing big damage, almost taking out the Alolan Marowak, and it's left on very low health. We can safely bring in the Mantine here. Mantine is exceedingly bulky, so we can afford to take hits on the Mantine. We take the Shadow Bone, that's totally fine. And they're going to bring back in the Zweilous. I want to bank the Bubble Beam and switch out, but unfortunately a Dragon Breath kills us. So a huge mistake, but the Zweilous is staying in and we're able to do big damage to it with the Steelix. I shield up, they go for the Dark Pulse, and now it becomes clear why they stayed into such a terrible matchup, Steelix into Zweilous, as they have Noctowl in the back, and Noctowl really struggles against Steelix, as do quite a few flyers. We are overfarming quite a bit. Very nice charge move timing by the opponent, making sure that I only get one free turn of energy. They go for the Shadow Ball, and now I'm going to be going for the Crunch. Crunch will be doing a nice chunk of damage here. They elect to let it go. They get to a move, and I need to shield this up. So I'm going to commit to the farm down, leave with the move, and then we're going to throw the Crunch onto the Zweilous. Now they still have a shield, but I'm hoping for the defense drop as we are very low. Crunch comes through, we get the drop, and we just can't take them out. The question is this a Body Slam or a Dark Pulse? Body Slam! Steelix survives on 1 HP, and that is a good game. Alright, hopping in the next match, we have Mantine into Rainy Cast form. Terrible lead, we're going to save switch into Lucario. And the Rainy Cast form is not switching out, so this gives me hope that they are potentially weak to Steel in the back. We are going to shield up the Weather Ball, we build up to the Shadow Ball, and we're going for the bait. Hoping for the shield. Unfortunately, the opponent calls the bait, but we are going to go for another power-up punch. If they want to get another move off, they're going to have to shield. They do decide to shield up, and they don't get to a move. That's so big. And then they bring in Zweilous. Oh my goodness, if this is their best response to a double boosted Lucario, they are so weak in the back. Lucario farms down. What is in the back? It is Shadow Abomasnow, and now Lucario is going for the sweep, smelling blood in the water. Come on, Lucario! Yes! Lucario able to fully sweep an opponent's team, and that is a good game. Hopping in the next match, we have Mantine into Shadow Lapras. We are going to save switch into our Steelix, and we bait out Shadow Machamp. Shadow Machamp does reach the cross chop. Steelix is very bulky. Steelix will survive that and will fire back with the Crunch. Machamp doesn't have to shield this, but it does do some solid chunk damage and is able to lower the defense. We are going to wait our clock here, and we've baited out the counter user, which is really nice. As you can see, we're running a pretty standard ABB style team, where we have the wing attack user on the lead, which is handling the fighters, and then we have the two steel types in the back. We are going for the Bubble Beam here, and basically we're staying in just for them to empty their energy, and once they do, then it's Lucario time. Lapras goes for the Skull Bash, in comes the Lucario, and what do they have in back? They have Frostlass. Frostlass, because of its typing, does take resisted damage from fighting, but you know what? I think the win con is going straight pup here. These counters will really start to add up, especially after we buff them even more. So we could be threatening the Shadow Ball, but you know what? I think if we go straight pup, we'll be okay, and we get a shield. The opponent is recognizing that these counters are starting to do absolutely huge damage, Avalanche comes through. Lucario going for the farm down. Lucario able to farm down. Back in comes the Shadow Lapras, but we are very buffed. We have a bunch of energy. We get the shield with the power-up punch. We're able to get to another power-up punch. Lucario on an absolute end-game rampage, taking out the last two Pokemon, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, we have Mantine into Dewgong. So here, this is unfortunately a bit of a rough lead, as Mantine doesn't have a lot of play. We are going to debuff it at least, and then we're going to take a move, and then we're probably going to be safe switching into the Steelix. We tank the move, we bring in the Steelix, and the opponent will be doing less damage than before just because they are debuffed, but unfortunately we do get our attack lowered. Our attack is lowered. They bring in Hypno of all things, which is definitely not a Steelix counter, and they shield up the Crunch right away. Unfortunately, our attack is debuffed due to the Icy Wind, but I should be able to survive any one move here. They actually go for a Thunder Punch. I'm not entirely sure why they went for the Thunder Punch bait there. I was definitely not going to shield. I'm debuffed. We're going for the Crunch. Crunch lands. We get the defense drop. And now Steelix able to reach another Crunch. Steelix putting in a ton of work here. Steelix able to take out the Hypno. And now we'll have to wait and see what they have in back. They bring back in the Dewgong. And you know what? Steelix is not done. Steelix going for the Crunch. Crunch will not take out the Dewgong here as we are debuffed. Dewgong farms down and they leave with a ton of energy. Fortunately, Lucario does resist here, but the tough thing is it still adds up. Lucario is so glassy. They try and get to the Water Pulse and they're not able to do it. And it's Zweilous in the back. So from here, Lucario is eating good. We are going to be able to counter down the Zweilous. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, we have Mantine into Cresselia. Unfortunately, Lucario does not have a great matchup against Confusion Cresselia, so I am actually going to want to stay in this matchup. We'll go for the debuff first to get that guaranteed attack drop, and then we can look to land the Ice Beam, as Ice Beam is our heavier hitting charge move and does do a solid chunk of damage. We are going to throw in the middle of the Confusion just to minimize the amount of free energy that we give them. Ice Beam lands and they bring in Steelix. Unfortunately, I'll be honest, I wasn't quite sure what to do here. I panicked for a little bit and I actually ended up going for a debuff. That was a mistake. I should have brought in Lucario right away. And the reason why that was a mistake is the Steelix will be able to reach the Earthquake because I overfarmed so much with the Mantine. This will be the Earthquake, and I am actually going to have to shield. So a pretty big misplay there by me. I'll be 100% honest. I was not used to seeing the Steelix switch in, and I got a little worried. We are actually going to go for the Pup. I'm thinking Pup is probably the way. We actually force a shield, believe it or not. And here, I'm expecting it's probably Cresselia double steal. They go for the Grass Knot, and now I'm going to aggressive switch in Steelix, and it's a Zweilous in the back. So not the double steal team I was expecting, but still a Confusion user with two Pokemon that are weak to fighting in the back. So they were weak to Lucario in the back. That makes quite a bit of sense. They fire back with the Dark Pulse, but unfortunately Zweilous has an absolutely miserable matchup versus Steelix. Steelix has the Crunch. The Cresselia shields, but there's just not a way they are going to be able to escape this team. They're able to get off the Grass Knot, which takes us out, but unfortunately, Lucario had the leftover energy. We reached the Power-Up Punch. From this health range, Power-Up Punch does take out the Cresselia, and that is a good game. Alright, hopping to the next match, we have Mantine into Noctowl. This is a pretty okay lead for us since we do have access to Ice Beam. Ice Beam will be hitting for super effective damage, and I'm hoping they decide to let it go, thinking I may be baiting with the Bubble Beam, which they do. They let it go. That's absolutely huge. Noctowl is farming up to 2 moves, so they're at the back-to-back Sky Attacks. I'm thinking I tank one and then catch the second onto the Steelix, and they go for the back-to-back. So we waste their energy here, and on top of that, now we get to bait out their best response to a Steel type, and they have Shadow Machamp. So this is scary. We are going to be going for the Crunch. They don't have to shield the Crunch, but the Crunch adds up. We get the defense drop, and they're going to be forced to throw energy. I could shield if I wanted to here, and could have KO'd, but honestly, I wanted to come in with Mantine and get the extra farm, and now we're going to be going for the Bubble Beam, because you know what came in? Empoleon. And you know what really likes to see Empoleon? Lucario. So we are going to be double debuffing them to incentivize them to switch out. After we bring in the Lucario, they switch into Noctowl, we farm all the way down, and now it's just going to be all she wrote. Lucario is going to start ramping up. They let the power-up punch through, and at this point, I don't even have to throw another charge move. Lucario dealing the damage, taking out the Empoleon, and unfortunately for the opponent, they lose the match with 2 shields. Hopping into the next match, we have Mantine into Cofagrigus. Now, Cofagrigus is a pretty neutral matchup for Mantine. We are going to be able to land the Ice Beam. Ice Beam will do a significant amount of damage. I really don't want the Cofagrigus lineup with the Lucario, but the tough thing is, if they're leading Cofagrigus, they definitely have a counter to Dark types, and that is often a counter user. So we do catch the move onto our Steelix, and we bait out Shadow Machamp. So it's good to bait this out so Lucario doesn't have to see this, but Shadow Machamp is going to be tough to deal with as it leaves with a ton of energy. I am going to wait my clock. We'll have to bring back in Mantine, and we will have to shield up. We do get the wing attack through, which is very, very nice. We commit the shield, and the opponent baits. They're going for it, but they're not able to get to the Rock Slide. That wing attack sneaking through was huge. I'm hoping they bring back in the Cofagrigus. They do, and you know what? I'm not going to bait. I'm going to go for the kill shot here with the Ice Beam. We go for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam lands and takes them out, and they have Skuntank in the back. And Dark Poisons are what Lucario was built to destroy. Lucario going for the power-up punch. They shield the first. They know they don't have a lot of HP to give. But again, Lucario ramping up. This counter damage absolutely tearing through. They do get to the crunch. So they could have Flamethrower as well, which would be a little rough. They shield up the power-up punch, but Lucario able to counter down. We do not get Flamethrowered, and that is a good game. Hopping in the next match, we have Mantine into Lapras. This is a bit of a tough lead for us. My play here is I'm going to go for the Bubble Beam to debuff them, wait for them to Skull Bash me, so they waste all their energy. And then we're going to switch into the Steelix. They can, of course, hit us for super effective with the Surf, but I'm hoping that they will switch out, which unfortunately they are not switching out. I will have to tank the Surf, but I should be able to outpace to the Earthquake here. So we tank the Surf. Again, Steelix is very bulky, and now we're going for the kill shot with Earthquake. It's outside of crunch range, but Earthquake hits hard. Earthquake lands, that takes them out, and now they bring in Primeape. Primeape gets such a good farm, and unfortunately, my Mantine is very low, so this is a very, very scary situation. We bring in the Mantine, and we're going to have to start shielding, as we cannot have this going up against our Lucario. Here, I decide to go for the bait. I'm thinking they have to be shielding this up. We're going for the bait, and they call it. Oh my goodness, things are looking absolutely terrible for us now. They go for the Night Slash. We are farming up. We're going for the debuff on the Bubble Beam, and then I think we have to aggressive swap Lucario and hope. We simul swap. They have Shadow Machamp in the back. Double steal against double fighters. That's going to be a tough matchup, and unfortunately not able to win that one. Pretty nice lead wing attack Mantine into Shadow Machamp. They see its wing attack. They switch out into Registeel. So my guess is this is probably double steal. So I'm actually going to debuff here. We are going to wait for them to throw, because any charge move they throw here from their standard moveset is going to be resisted. We have debuffed them, and now it's Steelix time. I am predicting that they're trying to bait out my counter users, so I'm actually not bringing it in. I'm bringing in the Steelix. Steelix able to tank a Focus Blast after the debuff fairly comfortably, and we're going for the Earthquake. We are hoping for that no shield so they can get that nice farm on their Machamp. They do no shield, that's so nice, and they get the farm on Machamp, but those 2 Dragon Tails from Steelix really add up. We wait our whole switch clock, and we bring back in Mantine. Rock Slide would definitely hurt here. I do need to commit the shield. Then go for the Rock Slide. What is in the back? It is a Steelix. So saving the Lucario comes in clutch. We're able to bring in the Lucario, and Lucario is going to be able to put in so much work here. We are fully going for the farm down. I'm going to shield up in case this is an Earthquake. It is the Earthquake. We farm down. We have so much energy. They bring back in the Shadow Machamp, but Lucario is loaded. We're going for the power-up punch. We're going for the second power-up punch. Can Lucario be a Shadow Machamp counter? Now, can we get to the third? Lucario gets to the third. Lucario taking out a Shadow Machamp. And that is a good game. Let's go. All right, hopping to the next one. We have Mantine into Hypno. Hypno is a huge problem for this team. How I like to play it out is I farm up, and we're going to catch the Thunder Punch onto Steelix. Unfortunately, Hypno has a ton of play against Mantine and a ton of play against Lucario. The opponent brings in Wobbuffet. Now, Wobbuffet does hit us for super effective with counters, but Wobbuffet is not attack weighted whatsoever. It does basically no damage, so this honestly isn't the most comfortable matchup for them because both Mirror Coat and Return are going to be resisted. My thinking here is, if at all possible, I do want to try and burn the switch clock here. We do get the defense drop, which is very nice. They're going to be throwing a charge move there. Return. Return does basically nothing. Our clock is up, and we bring back in Mantine. I need to lure back out the Hypno, and they do bring back in the Hypno, which is very nice. We're farming up, and this should hopefully be CMP on the Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch will take us out, but we are able to get a shield. They miscounted and thought we had Nice Beam, and now this is perfect. We've baited back out the Hypno. We're bringing back in the Steelix, and Steelix will be able to reach the Crunch, and Crunch will be doing massive damage onto the Hypno. Crunch comes through, the Hypno shields up, and we get the defense drop. Here, you know what? I'm actually thinking we're going to trust in Lucario. We're going to give Lucario 2 shields and see what happens. Unfortunately, Hypno does get to a move. I am going to be shielding this up. So they have the very low health Hypno. They switch it out, and they have Dugong in the back. Dugong is able to debuff here, which is unfortunate, but we're going for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does big damage, and Lucario is able to farm down. Dugong doesn't even get to a move, and the opponent resigns the match. Let's go. Hopping into the next match. Oh, this is not great. We have our Mantine into Magcargo. Magcargo is a definite core breaker for the team. We're able to land the Bubble Beam, which is very, very nice. I'm going to shield up, and they have Stone Edge, not Rock Tomb, so a good shield there. They bring in Greedent, and I'm going to go for the debuff here, and now we're going to bring in Lucario. Lucario should be able to put in a ton of work in this matchup. I did really want to get that debuff off just because Lucario is so glassy that even though all these charge moves are resisted, I still want to protect Lucario if at all possible. The goal is to leave with a ton of energy, and if they bring back in Magcargo, we should be able to apply a ton of pressure, but unfortunately they are smart and they bring in Trevenant. I'm going for the bait with the power-up punch to threaten the Shadow Ball. We get the shield, and now we're going for the Shadow Ball. We're either going to get both shields or one-shot them. Shadow Ball is shielded. That is unfortunate. They still have Magcargo alive, but you know what? I'm going to bring in Steelix. If I can get ahead on energy with Steelix, an Earthquake will be enough to take them out. They go for the Seed Bomb there. They're at another move. This is tough. I'm going to let this go. It is a Shadow Ball, and now I'm going to bank the Crunch for later. We're going to bring in the Mantine. This is a very tough spot to be in. Seed Bomb connects, and they bring in Magcargo. Okay. So we are going to be going for the Bubble Beam here. Bubble Beam will be doing a solid chunk of damage. Can we burn the switch clock? The nice thing is the Incinerates are not applying a lot of fast move pressure. They go for the Stone Edge. We're farming up, and we're able to get to another Bubble Beam. So we don't need to burn the switch clock after all. They bring back in the Trevenant. Trevenant tries to farm down. Trevenant unable to farm down. Mantine able to get off the Bubble Beam, and the opponent top lefts on the charge move, and that is a good game. All in all, I had a blast running this team. I went about positive on the day. I think I went 12 and 13 overall, around 2,300 elo. So overall, a pretty decent day for running a spice pick. I think Lucario does have an interesting niche in the Great League Remix meta. If you're looking to just strictly climb rank, there are better options, but if you're looking to have some fun along the way, it may be worth trying out Lucario. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.